After chatting for a while in the conference room, Thorian invited Xavier to start visiting the West Lacosia Palace. The palace is very large and has all kinds of facilities. It is easy for unfamiliar people to get lost if they come in. Xavier considered himself knowledgeable, but when he actually visited the West Lacosia Palace, he was still quite shocked. Different from the splendor of the Nouveau Riche, the West Lacosia Palace can only be described as grand and magnificent. Wherever you look, you can see the majestic feeling. What shocked Xavier the most was that a Hall of Heroes was built in the West Lacosia Palace. Valhalla has 9 floors and looks like an ancient tower from the outside. Inside are the memorial tablets of martyrs who died on the battlefield, thousands and thousands of them, densely packed together. A monument was erected for each of these heroic martyrs, with their life stories clearly engraved on it for future generations to pay homage to. Although the Qin family also has a family tree that records some glorious figures, it is far inferior to the Hall of Heroes in the West Lacosia Palace. No wonder the West Lacosia cavalry was the best in the world. It turns out the reason lies here. After walking around the palace for quite some time, it was already dusk before they knew it. Thorian specially prepared a dinner and invited Xavier to join. Although there is a 30-year age difference between the two, they get along very well. Xavier also deeply realized that Thorian, the rumored devil, was not a real playboy. On the contrary, the other party is a talented person with insight, knowledge in both literary and martial arts skills. So much like that in many aspects, even he, a veteran, feels inferior to him. As expected, there is no one in the Reese family who is easy to deal with. While Xavier and Thorian were drinking and chatting happily in the palace, the scene outside the palace was quite different. All the big shots were still waiting anxiously at the door, hesitating non-stop. Several reports were made, but all fell on deaf ears, with no response at all. However, they obviously had no intention of giving up, and no one was willing to leave first, for fear of missing the opportunity and being overtaken by others. "My lord, the sun is about to set. Are you still going to wait here? Can you handle it?" The city guard commander glanced at the setting sun, then looked at the pale-faced and sweaty Grand Secretary of the Sky Seal Pavilion, and couldn't help but make a teasing remark. He and General Lewis both came from military backgrounds and were physically strong, so it was no problem for them to wait in the hot sun. But it was different for the Grand Secretary of Sky Seal Pavilion. He was used to being pampered in daily life. When had he ever suffered such a punishment? "Humph! I know exactly how my health is. There's no need for you, General, to worry about me." The Grand Secretary of Sky Seal Pavilion wiped the sweat off his forehead and replied unhappily. Behind him there were 2 lackeys who got 2 leaves from somewhere and were fanning him to show their filial piety. "I was thinking, there's no point in waiting like this. Why don't we find a place to rest for a while and eat something? After all, people aren't made of iron and steel, and only when we're full and satisfied can we have the strength to wait," the city guard general said with a smile. The Grand Secretary of Sky Seal Pavilion touched his rumbling stomach and seemed quite excited. He hadn't eaten a single grain of rice from morning till dusk, and his stomach was already starving. Now he was simply relying on willpower to hold on. It would have been better if no one hadn't said it. Once they started talking about it, his stomach growled even louder. "General, what do you say?" The Grand Secretary of Sky Seal Pavilion did not answer directly, but turned his gaze to General Lewis. The 3 of them had the same goal. It would be bad if General Lewis got the upper hand while he was resting with the city guard commander. "Looking at the situation today, the door will not be opened again. It would be okay to have a few drinks together." General Lewis glanced at the closed door and finally nodded. After his initial impatience, he now calmed down. He owed the second prince a favor, so he came to visit today and tried to find out some information. After waiting here for a whole day, his attitude has been made clear. No matter what, he will get an explanation to the second prince. "Okay. Since the general has spoken, I will have a few drinks with you today." The Grand Secretary of Sky Seal Pavilion smiled. At this point, everyone understands it tacitly. "You two please come in. I'll be your host tonight. Let's have a good drink together." The city guard general invited them with one hand. "Then I won't be polite. Please." Surrounded by a group of younger soldiers, the three of them walked side by side and left the palace together. The three of them did not walk too far, but found a nice restaurant nearby. The window of a private room in the restaurant faces the gate of West Lekozia Palace, and the distance between them is only about 200 meters. While the three of them were eating and drinking, they were also observing the movements at the gate of the palace. Any disturbance would not escape their eyes. The other two expressed satisfactions with the arrangement made by the city guard commander. If they had known there was such a great place, they wouldn't have had to wait at the door in the hot sun. Just as several people were drinking and chatting happily, a spy suddenly walked into the private room and whispered something in the ear of the city guard commander. After hearing this, the city guard commander's face changed immediately. When the other two saw it, they also sensed something unusual. "General, what happened?" asked the Grand Secretary of Skyseal Pavilion tentatively. "You too, the situation is not good." The city guard general put down his bowl and chopsticks, and said gloomily, "According to the internal information we just received, an outsider has already got here first." As soon as these words were spoken, everyone frowned.
And just can't accept it. This can't be the end yet. You promised to never leave, and now you're gone. Can't believe I can feel the world slipping away as you slowly fade from my everyday. You promised forever a love without end, but now I'm left broken, struggling to mend. I thought we were so tied, destined for a lifetime, love with no end, love with no end. Staying in my imagination, memorizing the past time, the secrets, the love, the care, now they're echoes in the air. I still see your face in every place, feel your warmth, your gentle grace.